You know what I find interesting is that we never really figured out the pronouns of Godzilla in this one.
No,
we don't really know, what, like, we know that King Kong is like, it's king, but like, we don't ever really know what Godzilla is.
The question of which cinematic titan would win in a fight has been one that viewers and studios have been asking even before the 1962 release of King Kong vs. Godzilla. That primal battle between lizard and monkey draws something out in each of us, including the cast of the upcoming legendary event film Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. Directed by Adam Wingard, the epic sequel to 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong doubles down on the sci-fi action and sends our heroes back into the Hollow Earth so that they can help Kong and figure out why Godzilla is headed towards his new home. When we chatted with the director and the cast of the new film recently, the ultimate question of course came up. Who is the true king of the monsters? Not surprisingly, they had some very strong opinions. For director Adam Wingard, the answer is a simple one.
Godzilla is the king of the monsters.
But that shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who's been watching his entries in the legendary MonsterVerse.
I've done 2 movies now with Godzilla and Kong, and I think it's pretty clear where I stand in terms of who's the top dog. And this all stems from an enthusiasm and passion I had on the schoolyard as a kid. I remember there was one of my best friends I think maybe I was in like 2nd grade or something. King Kong versus Godzilla was on TV the night before, and he was talking about, how he thought that King Kong, definitely beat Godzilla in a fight. And I was like, I'm a big Kong guy, but I was a little, I was a little offended by that. I was like, at the end of the day, Kong's a big ape. It's like Godzilla, he's a god, it's...
Some of the cast of Godzilla Kong took a different approach though. To them, the new title means that the big boys have actually moved past their former beef.
So I think that it's shared at this point because I think that it's not, that's why there's an X in between, because it's like, hold on, actually, it's a collab, right? Like, it is a collab.
It is a collab.
Oh my God, yeah, it's a collab.
Yeah.
So I think that at this point, those titles mean nothing.
Yeah.
I think they both realize, like, look, we have destroyed just as much of the same as everyone else. So like, let's just
make sneakers.
Like, let's do Off-White together.
Yeah.
Of course, Kong does have one true believer in Kaylee Holloway, who plays Gia in Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. And what else would you expect from the talented young actress? After all, she's been responsible for playing Kong's companion and communicator in the blockbuster movie franchise and returns in an even more key role in the new film.
I think that King Kong is king of the monsters because he wants it. He wants to be on top. He's got a great heart and he acts like a king. He's King Kong.
The new film sees Kong find other giant apes like him, which to Hoddle only cements his place at the top of the pile.
He has his people. He is his king, He is the people's king. He wants to be on top. He has to defeat these foes to prove who he is and to prove that he is king.
It's not all about weighing up who'd win in a fight though, as there's also the matter of whose cinematic catalog holds up better. Godzilla unquestionably outnumbers the big monkey with 38 films to Kong's 14, and the Japanese Titan is also arguably the bigger pop culture icon. But saying that, Kong does hold a special place in Hollywood history thanks to his legendary 1933 flick. When it comes to weighing up whose catalog is stronger, Windguard, unsurprisingly, had a lot of thoughts. I think Godzilla has more good movies. He obviously has a gazillion more movies, but Kong does have good ones. I actually think that the 76 Kong is underrated. I really liked King Kong Escapes as well. That's the unsung Kong movie of the Showa era. Pretty much all the Kong movies other than the Linda Hamilton one are pretty good. For Windguard, the reason that Godzilla ultimately wins the cinematic battle over Kong, though, is all about the experimental style and scope of the Toho monster movies. I don't think any of the Kong films get to the heights of things like Godzilla vs. Hedorah. To me, it's kind of hard to beat just how crazy that film is and just truly weird it is. That's just such a great film. If you haven't seen that classic monster movie, it follows the titular amorphous alien Hedorah, who is transported to Earth via a cosmic comet. Once Hedorah makes it to our planet, he grows to an immense size thanks to the massive amounts of pollution and smog that humans have created. Of course, that ultimately leads to Godzilla appearing and trying to stop Hedorah in some of the best and strangest fights in the Toho movie canon. While Windguard is pretty decisive that Godzilla is the cinematic king, his cast had to chop it up a little more to really come to a conclusion.
Rebecca's choices would be much more elevated than mine, I feel. You would
go
for sort of like classy, classic Hollywood, and I'd go for slightly more kind of like weird, trashy Would we? Genuine question. Yeah, no, I think the Kong movies tend to have a bit more of a sense of adventure and kind of like going into the unknown, whereas Godzilla is more about sort of cityscapes being
I
destroyed.
always felt that Kong was more exploitive, right? It was about people going to him and bothering him and trying to capitalize off of him.
Right.
Slight colonizer narrative.
It was about that. Whereas Godzilla was like, y'all are on my planet.
Yeah.
I will just I will do. So I think that's why it's great that they team up, because they're both like, we've both been exploited. Let's get everything. Let's get everything. And
Exactly.
So you would be more Kong. You would
I
be
think
more
so.
Godzilla.
I think I might be more Godzilla, probably like the Japanese ones, like that kind of. I think I probably would go that way.
Yeah.
This year marks the 70th anniversary of Godzilla, and there are more fantastic entries in his canon than ever. With the Oscar-winning Godzilla -1, the critically acclaimed legendary TV series Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, and of course now Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, the question must be raised. Why are we all still talking about Godzilla all these decades later?
I think Godzilla's been so popular over the years because, I mean, you can just take Godzilla -1 and, my film Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, and these two films couldn't be more tonally different from each other. I think that's what's so cool about Godzilla is that, metaphorically, tonally, he's just very versatile in terms of what he can mean and represent in the movies.
So what do you think? Who is the real king of the monsters? Let's discuss in the comments, and for even more on Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, make sure to like and subscribe to IGN wherever you watch.